Hello, greetings to everyone out there in YouTube land. My name is Belle, and I thought I'd do a book chat today. I'm kind of in a good mood, and I was organizing my books because my husband Joey and I decided to switch around our living room and our den. So, like, the second bedroom that was our den is going to be like my office and sitting room, and then we moved a lot of Joey's video game stuff down to the living room. So I've been organizing my books and my oracle cards a little bit, and I just wanted to do a book chat today just to get up to date with some of the things I've been inspired by recently. So the book that I'm excited about the most in kind of a practical way is this book called Small Business Kit for Dummies. And the great thing about that book is that, here, let me get some of these. The great thing about that book is that I want to start my own business, so it'll be really useful. Here we go. Small Business Kit for Dummies. I haven't started it yet, but I just needed everything laid out really simply so I don't feel like I'm reinventing the wheel, I guess. But yeah, I'm really excited about that. Like, this is exactly what I needed. So I was looking at like accounting and bookkeeping books, and those are more for large businesses with employees and stuff. So I think Small Business Kit for Dummies is just what I need. So I'm excited about that. And supposedly it has some forms and documents on a CD too, but I'll have to see if that works out or not. Okay, so excited about that. And then let's see, I just got a book from Amazon that is pretty good so far. I'm not totally Buddhist. I kind of use like a dose of Buddhism at a time. I'm very intrigued by Buddhism, I should say. So I got this book called Awakening from the Daydream by David Nishtern, and it's about the I think it's called The Wheel of Life. It's about this idea. The way that I found it was I was looking up the idea of hungry ghosts, because I think as a metaphor, I definitely have my own hungry ghosts. And so I was looking up a website that was not related to this book, but was related to like the Buddhist idea of there's a realm of the hungry ghost, and then there's other realms too. And it can be a metaphor for different aspects of your daily life and how you get kind of hung up on certain ideas or stuff like that. So this book seems pretty cool. I'm like I said, I'm not 100% Buddhist, but I'm inspired by Buddhism at different times, so I think I'm going to enjoy this book a lot. I've read like the introduction and the first chapter so far. Okay, and then another book I just started is about the ideas basically from Toltec, the Toltec path. And it's really funny because I didn't know that this was the same author. I thought that, okay, so here's the book, Awakening the Energy Body. And I have another book by Ken Eaglefeather, but it says on the back of this book that Kenneth Smith and Ken Eaglefeather are the same person. So it's kind of funny that I ended up with, I think the other book I have is Toltec Dreaming, which is really interesting. I haven't finished reading it, but this book seems really interesting too. So it's called Awakening the Energy Body, From Shamanism to Bioenergetics. And I don't know, it seems to be like a great way of getting more clear about working with your aura and different things like that. I've been skimming through, like I read the introduction and then I skimmed through the first chapter, and then I was reading the second chapter, but I want to read it again. So I'm just beginning to get into this book. But it seems to be like really, in a different way, practical too for the spiritual path. Let's see what else. Okay, so this is a really, they say never judge a book by its cover, but this is what I did with this book because the cover is so beautiful. It's called Mindfulness in Knitting, and it's like this inspirational book or something. This one is by Rachel Matthews. The Mindfulness in Knitting, Meditations on Craft and Calm. And it seems good so far. It seems like a way to think of knitting and crafting as a practice that can help you be kind of meditative. It always kind of makes me annoyed when people dismiss knitting and crafting as just like something simple. And it is simple, but it's very zen and very, I don't know, it's something amazing about knitting, and it teaches me a lot about life. One of the things knitting teaches me about life is that little steps of progress add up eventually. I think without the literal metaphor of a knitted project, I would never know that, for sure, that little steps add up to become something. Because for some reason, it's a harder thing to just conceptualize. So, I don't know, it's like knitting is a literal, tangible thing. It's also a metaphor, so it's really cool. I'm recording this on my phone, obviously. So, cause I don't know, I have a really ancient computer, and I need to make sure everything is working on that computer, so I've just been recording YouTube videos on my phone. And I want to keep an informal, casual style on my YouTube channel. So, this is one way of doing that too. So, okay, here's a book that I haven't really delved into as much yet, but I think it's going to be good. It's called Beyond the Bleep, the definitive, unauthorized guide to the movie What the Bleep Do We Know? If you remember that movie from a few years ago. This book is by Alexandra Bruce, and it seems like she's not afraid to talk about the aspects that are controversial. And if there's a controversy between like mainstream science and the people who are talking on this movie, she'll just say, like, look, there's a controversy around this. But it's really cool because there's so much covered in that movie. So I think this book will be good to take a deeper look at some of the really cool, like, spiritual technology, basically, that's brought up in the movie. I think, I know I had to suspend my judgment about a few things, and it's interesting how much my spiritual path has changed since I originally saw the movie. Because I remember when I originally saw the movie with my sister, like years ago, when it kind of, a little bit after it came out, I didn't believe everything. And I remember especially the part about the water molecules. I was like very skeptical about that. And I don't know. I still don't know exactly how I feel about that, but I'm definitely more inclined to believe in the water molecules like responding to intention and emotion. I'm more inclined to be open to that now than I was at the time. So that's an indicator of how much my spiritual path has changed in over 10 years or something like that. Okay, so the last book that I want to bring up is, I'm not going to show the book, I'm going to show my Kindle. This is my Kindle. No. Okay, it's a Kindle book, and I wrote it down. The book is called Pure, The Keys to Your Supernature, and it's by this really cool speaker named the Barefoot Doctor, and he has some really cool meditations on his website and stuff too. Anyway, so it has the distinction of being one of the only books I've read all the way through recently. As you can tell, I'm kind of a reader who goes through a lot of different things. It's kind of a collage or a mosaic, and it's a good way of looking at it. But I've actually read on Kindle, and I keep going back to it, all of this book by the Barefoot Doctor. The book is called Pure, The Keys to Your Supernature, and I really recommend it. It's in short chapters or short chunks with like a heading and like 2 or 3 pages, and so that makes it really easy to read on your Kindle or on your phone. And it's really inspiring. He is into Taoism, I think, so he'll give you all these tips and techniques for feeling more empowered on your life path. So it's been really, I need to read it again because It's the kind of thing where it's very empowering, and then I get into my old bad habits again. So I need to read some parts of that book again. Um, the other book that has the distinction of being one of the only other books I've finished reading is Dream Gates by Robert Moss, because that book is fascinating. I think I skipped over a part that I considered a little bit morbid, but other than that, I completely read the book Dream Gates by Robert Moss, which I really recommend if you're interested in expanding your consciousness and thinking about new ideas that could potentially be positive and kind of expanding ideas. Because, I don't know, that's what it was for me when I read it a couple years ago. A lot of books are good, but there's so much to read that, I don't know. And it's kind of funny because I don't know who it's by, but there's a quote from a spiritual person who's like, it's better to read one book 5 times or however many times than it is to read a bunch of books. But my path is pretty eclectic, so I kind of feel differently. But I know there's definitely, there's pros to sticking with different practices. Like if you want to meditate each day, you're going to see more positive results if you stick with that. So it's an ongoing question for me, like how do I stay true to my eclectic mosaic and also see progress in the way that adds up bit by bit, like with the knitting metaphor. Okay, thank you so much for tuning in to this Spiritual Path book chat. Really appreciate your time and energy. It's really cool to be able to share ideas in this format, and I will see you next time.